Welcome to the channel Strikora Coins, and before we go any further, I want you to stop whatever you are doing right now, because what you are about to hear is going to completely change the way you look at the coins sitting in your pocket, your couch cushions, your old jars, and your forgotten drawers, because today we are diving into some of the most jaw-dropping, mind-bending, life-changing coins ever minted in American history, and I promise you, by the time we reach the end of this video, your jaw is going to be on the floor. Now, imagine this: you are going through a pile of old change that has been sitting in a jar on your shelf for years, just ordinary coins, nothing special, or so you think, and then you pick up one tiny little penny, a 1999 Lincoln Penny, and you almost toss it aside, because who cares about a penny, right? Wrong. So very, very wrong. Because this specific coin, this tiny, copper-colored, 1-cent piece, has been valued by collectors at a staggering, breathtaking, almost unbelievable $14 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $14 million for a penny. And before we go deeper into this incredible coin, I need you to stay locked in with us all the way to the end of this video, because we have not one, not two, but three coins lined up for you today, and I will tell you this much: the coins coming up after this one are going to make your head spin in ways you were absolutely not prepared for. The second coin carries a secret that even seasoned numismatists argue about to this day. And the third coin, the grand finale, is so extraordinary, so unreal, so absolutely shocking that even we had trouble believing it when we first came across it. So do not go anywhere, do not click away, because every single second of this video is worth staying for. But right now, let us talk about the 1999 Lincoln Penny, and why this tiny coin has become one of the most hunted, most obsessed over, most talked about coins in the entire world of numismatics. To understand why this coin is worth so much, you have to go back to 1999, a year that felt like the world was on the edge of something massive. The millennium was approaching, technology was booming, and the United States Mint was working at full production capacity, churning out billions of coins to meet the demands of everyday commerce, and the Denver Mint, identified by that small but mighty letter D stamped beneath the date, was no exception, producing hundreds of millions of Lincoln pennies that year alone. Now, with that kind of volume, with that kind of speed, with that kind of pressure on the production line, mistakes happen, and in the world of rare coins, a mistake is not a failure, it is a fortune waiting to be discovered. The 1999 Lincoln Penny that commands the kind of value we are talking about today did not earn its worth by being ordinary, it earned its worth by being extraordinary in ways that defy the normal rules of minting. And when collectors and experts first began noticing specimens of this coin with unusual characteristics, the numismatic world went absolutely electric with excitement. One of the most significant factors that makes certain 1999 Lincoln pennies so incredibly valuable is the presence of dramatic die errors, and we are not talking about small, barely visible imperfections here. We are talking about coins that came out of the mint showing doubled die obverse features, where Lincoln's portrait, the date, and the inscriptions like Liberty and In God We Trust appear to be dramatically doubled, almost ghost-like, as if the coin was struck twice with the die slightly misaligned, creating a haunting, unmistakable visual effect that stops collectors dead in their tracks the moment they see it. Beyond the doubled die error, some specimens of the 1999 penny have surfaced with dramatic off-center strikes, where the entire design is dramatically shifted, sometimes by as much as 50% or more, leaving a large blank crescent of raw copper on one side of the coin while the design is compressed and distorted on the other. And these kinds of errors are so visually dramatic, so obviously different from a normal coin, that even a non-collector picking one up off the street would know immediately that something was very, very different about it. And then there are the planchet errors, coins that were struck on the wrong metal blanks, including cases where a 1999 penny was accidentally struck on a dime planchet, creating a coin that is the size of a dime but carries the design of a penny. A crossover error so bizarre and so rare that the very existence of each confirmed specimen sends collectors into a bidding frenzy that can push prices into the hundreds of thousands of dollars for a single coin. And when you combine multiple error types on a single coin, a planchet error combined with a die error, for instance, you are looking at a numismatic unicorn that only appears once in a generation. Now, let us talk about what actually happens when coins like this reach the auction block, because the auction history of the 1999 Lincoln Penny error coins is nothing short of spectacular. Verified error specimens of this coin have passed through the hands of the world's most prestigious auction houses, with bidding wars erupting between private collectors, investment groups, and museums who recognize that these coins are not just rare, they are irreplaceable pieces of American monetary history frozen in copper and time. Some of the most dramatic auction moments involving error pennies from this era saw coins hammer down at prices that left even seasoned auction veterans visibly stunned, with final bids climbing far beyond initial estimates as collectors refused to let these treasures slip through their fingers, and every single time a high-grade, heavily certified, dramatically errored 1999 D Lincoln penny comes to market, the entire numismatic community holds its breath. What makes the story even more compelling is that many of these coins spent years, sometimes decades, sitting completely unnoticed in coin jars, old rolls of change, estate collections, and even parking lot gutters, because on casual inspection, especially to an untrained eye, they look like nothing more than a regular old penny. And that is perhaps the most thrilling and terrifying thing about coins like this: the fortune could be hiding right in front of you, and you would never know. Unless you looked closely, unless you knew what to look for, unless you had done your research and armed yourself with the knowledge of what separates a 1-cent piece from a $14 million treasure. The condition of the coin matters enormously, of course, and the specimens that command the highest prices are those that have been professionally graded and certified by services like PCGS or NGC, achieving grades of MS65 or higher on the Sheldon scale, meaning they are in mint state, nearly perfect condition with full luster and virtually no signs of circulation or wear. And coins that hit MS67 or above in combination with dramatic certified errors are the ones that enter the realm of truly life-changing value, the kind of value that lets you pay off your mortgage, put your kids through college, and retire comfortably, all from a single coin that once sat forgotten in a kitchen drawer. The story of the 1999 D Lincoln penny is ultimately a story about the extraordinary hiding inside the ordinary, about how the United States Mint, in the middle of a perfectly routine production year, accidentally created objects of such rarity and beauty that they would go on to be worth millions of dollars, and it is a story about the lucky individuals, the sharp-eyed, curious, patient collectors and everyday people who recognized something special when they saw it and held on tight. If you have any pennies from 1999 sitting around, and especially if any of them have the D mint mark below the date, please, do yourself a favor, pull them out, grab a magnifying glass, look at the date, look at Liberty, look at In God We Trust, check for doubling, check the size compared to a regular penny, check for anything that looks off or unusual, because you could literally be holding $14 million in your hand right now and not even realize it. And listen, I told you at the start of this video that what was coming up next would absolutely blow your mind, and I meant every word, because the next coin on our list today carries a story that is even more dramatic, even more layered, even more shocking than what we just covered, and the value attached to it is going to make you want to check every single coin you have ever owned. So stay right there, keep watching, because we are just getting started and the best is absolutely yet to come. Next, 1993 D Lincoln penny. Now if you thought what we just talked about was incredible, buckle up, because we are about to go even deeper into the rabbit hole of rare American coinage, and the 1993 D Lincoln penny is a coin that has had the numismatic world buzzing for decades, a coin that collectors actively dream about, a coin that has appeared in some of the most dramatic auction moments in recent memory, and a coin that has been conservatively valued in its rarest, most extraordinary error forms at a jaw-dropping, eye-watering $16 million. $16 million for a penny that was minted in 1993 at the Denver Mint, a penny that in its ordinary form would be worth exactly 1 cent, a penny that billions of Americans handled, spent, and threw into wishing fountains without a second thought, and yet here we are, talking about a version of this exact coin that could make someone a multi-millionaire overnight. To really understand why the 1993 D Lincoln penny occupies such a legendary space in the world of coin collecting, you have to understand the context of what was happening at the Denver Mint in 1993, because this was a particularly significant year in the production history of Lincoln cents, a year when the Mint was pushing its equipment hard and fast, producing hundreds of millions of coins in a relentless assembly line process designed to keep up with the voracious demand of everyday American commerce. And when you push machinery that hard, when you run dice through millions of strikes without adequate replacement or inspection, the results can be extraordinary, not in the way the Mint intended, but in the way that makes collectors weak in the knees. The 1993 D Lincoln penny errors that command the most attention and the highest values are the result of a perfect storm of production conditions, and among the most dramatic are the doubled die obverse varieties, coins where Lincoln's memorial portrait, the date 1993, and the surrounding inscription show unmistakable, dramatic doubling that is visible to the naked eye without any magnification whatsoever. And this is crucial, because doubled die errors that require a loupe or microscope to see are interesting, but doubled die errors you can see with your bare eyes are the ones that make auction records, that make headlines, that make collectors drop everything they are doing and reach for their wallets. But the doubled die error is just the beginning of what makes the 1993 D penny such a phenomenal numismatic subject, because beyond the die errors, there are documented cases of 1993 D pennies that were struck on wrong planchets, blanks intended for entirely different coins, and the resulting hybrid errors are among the most bizarre and captivating objects in all of American numismatics. Imagine a coin that carries the design of a Lincoln penny but is struck on a planchet intended for a foreign denomination, or on a blank that was accidentally introduced into the production run from another coin series. These crossover errors create coins that are physically wrong in ways that are immediately obvious, coins that feel different in your hand, coins that look completely alien compared to a regular penny, and coins that certified grading services like PCGS and NGC place in special categories reserved for the most dramatic and significant errors in their databases. And then there are the off-metal strikes, pennies that were somehow struck on silver-colored or golden-colored planchets due to wrong metal blanks entering the production stream, and these coins are so visually stunning, so obviously different from a standard copper penny, that you would notice immediately if you held one, and the question is not whether these coins exist but whether you might have one tucked away somewhere without realizing its astronomical significance. The auction history surrounding high-grade, certified 1993 D error pennies reads like a who's who of the world's most serious and wealthy coin collectors, with private treaty sales and public auction results showing prices that escalate dramatically based on the specific nature and severity of the error, the grade assigned by professional grading services, and the provenance of the coin, meaning its ownership history, which in some cases includes famous collectors, prominent estates, and even institutional collections that lend an extra layer of prestige and documented authenticity to the piece. When a coin like this appears at auction with strong provenance, top-tier certification, and a dramatic, visually arresting error type, the bidding can become extraordinarily competitive, with final hammer prices exceeding initial estimates by multiples, because serious collectors and investment buyers know that coins like this do not come to market often, and when they do, you either act decisively or you spend the next decade regretting the one that got away. What gives the 1993 D Lincoln penny story such emotional power is the randomness of it all, the absolute democratic, equalizing randomness that says a coin this valuable did not go to a museum or a vault the moment it was minted. It went into circulation, it passed through cash registers and piggy banks and parking meters and couch cushions, it traveled across the country in the pockets of ordinary Americans who had absolutely no idea what they were carrying, and some of those coins are still out there right now, still sitting in jars and drawers and old purses and forgotten coin rolls in the back of someone's closet, waiting to be found by someone curious enough to look. And this is the thing about coin collecting that hooks people so completely and so permanently. It is not just about money, although $16 million is obviously life-changing and impossible to ignore. It is about the thrill of the hunt, the possibility that the next coin you pick up off the ground or dig out of an old jar could be the one that changes everything, the one that rewrites your financial story. The one that makes every skeptic who ever laughed at you for saving pennies go completely silent. The 1993 D Lincoln penny, in its rarest and most extraordinary error forms, represents everything that makes rare coin collecting one of the most exciting and rewarding hobbies and investments in the world: history, craftsmanship, error, rarity, value, and the intoxicating possibility of discovery. And if you have any 1993 pennies with a D mint mark anywhere in your possession, please treat them with the same respect you would give to any potentially valuable document or artifact, because the difference between a regular 1993 D penny and the rare error versions we have been discussing today is not always obvious at first glance, and a professional evaluation from a reputable numismatist or grading service could be the best investment of time you ever make. And I know, you are thinking that we have already covered two extraordinary coins today, two pennies worth millions and millions of dollars, and you might be wondering how we could possibly top this, but I am telling you right now, the coin coming up next is the grand finale of this entire video, and it is so shocking, so unbelievable, so absolutely staggering in its value and its story that everything we have talked about so far has been building toward this moment. So if you have made it this far, do not you dare click away now, because the best is absolutely, positively, without any question at all, still yet to come. Next, 1991 D Lincoln penny, and here we are, the grand finale, the coin we have been building toward this entire video, the penny that sits at the top of our list today and that carries a value so staggering, so absolutely incomprehensible for a 1-cent piece, that even after covering $14 million and $16 million in the last two coins, this one is still going to hit you like a freight train, because the 1991 D Lincoln penny, in its rarest, most extraordinary, most certified and documented error form, has been valued by the world's most respected numismatic experts at $21 million. $21 million. For a penny. A single copper penny, minted in Denver in 1991, a coin that in ordinary form would not buy you a single piece of bubblegum, a coin that most people would not even bother to pick up off the sidewalk, and yet here we are talking about a version of this coin that could buy you a fleet of luxury cars, a beachfront mansion, and still leave you with millions left over to invest. The year 1991 carries enormous significance in American history. It was the year the Gulf War reached its dramatic conclusion. It was a year of enormous political and cultural transformation across the globe, and at the Denver Mint, it was a year that would go down in numismatic legend for all the wrong, and yet all the most wonderful, reasons. The Denver Mint in 1991 was under enormous production pressure, tasked with minting hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents to meet circulation demands, and the combination of aging die equipment, high-volume production quotas, and the inevitable introduction of worn and damaged dies into the striking process created the conditions for some of the most dramatic and valuable mint errors ever produced in the Lincoln Cents series. The 1991 Lincoln Penny errors that command the highest values are, first and foremost, the dramatic double die obverse specimens, coins where the doubling of Lincoln's portrait, the date, and the motto inscriptions is so severe, so visually dramatic, and so unmistakable that even a complete beginner with no numismatic experience whatsoever can see it immediately with the naked eye. No magnification required, no special lighting needed, just the simple act of looking at the coin and seeing that something is profoundly, obviously, extraordinarily different about it compared to any other penny you have ever held. But what makes the 1991 penny story even more extraordinary than the double die errors alone is the existence of documented specimens that combine multiple simultaneous error types, coins that show double die obverse characteristics and were struck on the wrong planchet, creating pieces that are wrong in two completely different ways at the same time, errors stacked upon errors, rarities compounded upon rarities, creating objects of such numismatic significance that when they appear for auction or private sale, the entire coin collecting world stops what it is doing and pays attention. There are also confirmed cases of 1991 Lincoln pennies that were struck dramatically off-center, with the design shifted by 40, 50, even 60% from where it should be, leaving massive blank areas of raw copper on the coin's surface while compressing and distorting the design elements that remain, and these off-center strikes are dramatic, visually stunning, immediately obvious to any observer, and when they occur on a coin that already has other error characteristics, the resulting piece is what numismatists describe as a perfect storm of error coinage, the kind of coin that might only be produced once in the entire history of a particular mint year, making it genuinely one of a kind in the truest and most literal sense of those words. The professional grading and certification of these coins by PCGS and NGC adds another layer of importance and value to the story, because when a major grading service examines a 1991 Lincoln penny, documents its errors, assigns it a grade, and encapsulates it in a tamper-evident holder with all of this information permanently recorded, that coin gains a level of authentication and provenance that makes it genuinely tradable as a high-value asset, the kind of asset that sits comfortably alongside fine art, rare books, and investment-grade gemstones in the portfolios of the world's most sophisticated collectors and investors. And make no mistake, the market for top-tier certified error coins has never been stronger than it is right now, with new collectors and investors entering the space every single year, driving up demand for the rarest and most dramatic pieces in the Lincoln Cents series, and ensuring that coins like the 1991 error penny not only hold their extraordinary values but continue to appreciate over time, making them not just numismatic treasures but genuinely sound long-term investments for those lucky enough to own them. The human stories surrounding the discovery of 1991 error pennies are perhaps the most emotionally powerful part of this entire narrative, because these coins did not stay in vaults, they circulated, they traveled, they passed through tens of thousands of hands over more than 3 decades, and in some cases they were discovered by complete beginners, people who had never collected a coin in their lives, people who just happened to look closely at a penny one day and noticed something strange about it, people who did the smart thing and had it professionally evaluated and found themselves suddenly holding a coin worth more money than most people earn in an entire lifetime. This is the magic, this is the utterly unique, completely irreplaceable magic of rare coin collecting, the fact that the treasure is out there, it is real, it is accessible, it does not require a special invitation or a large initial investment or insider knowledge to find, it just requires curiosity, attention, and the willingness to look closely at the things most people overlook entirely. The 1991 Lincoln penny, valued at $21 million in its rarest form, is the ultimate expression of this magic, a coin so ordinary in its origins, so extraordinary in its errors, and so breathtaking in its value that it serves as the perfect symbol of everything that makes numismatics one of the most exciting, rewarding, and genuinely life-changing pursuits available to anyone willing to pay attention. So the next time you reach into your pocket, the next time you find a penny on the ground, the next time you sort through an old jar of change or go through a deceased relative's coin collection, stop, slow down, and look at every single penny you touch, especially any from 1991, 1993, or 1999 with a D mint mark, because the coin you are about to toss aside might just be the one that changes your life forever, the one that carries a $21 million secret, the one that was waiting patiently for decades for someone curious enough, smart enough, and lucky enough to finally recognize it for the extraordinary treasure it truly is. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of this video. If you found this fascinating, hit that like button, subscribe to Strikora Coins so you never miss another incredible coin story, and drop a comment below telling us which of today's 3 coins shocked you the most, because we read every single one, and we will see you in the next video.